Ja, I mean, we're coming all morning long. We're trying to come up with the right words. How do you describe what we're seeing in him right now?
A superstar. And so many times in the NBA, these guys will tell you, you win because you have that person on your roster. Luka's that for the Mavs. Ja's become that for the Memphis Grizzlies. And we know this was do or die. 47 big points, 18 in the fourth quarter. He got aided by Gary Payton II being out of the game. But also, again, uber aggressive. The shot attempts, he took over 30 shots in the game?
31 shots, yeah.
When we were watching the Nets lose to the Celtics, the one thing that was head-scratching to many of us is the lack of aggression by Kevin Durant, going fourth quarters by only taking one shot. Ja was not allowing his team to go down 0-2.
And quickly, he's also got, and you played in the 90s, he's got sort of an old school mentality, doesn't he? I know he's got a new school game, but he's got kind of an old school feel to him.
Definitely, and it's a do or die thing with him. And what makes it old school, Greeny, is it's not just that he's buying into his team and trying to win a championship. He's bought into the city. Like right now, nobody thinks Ja Morant might leave after his rookie deal.
Oh, no.
Right? Nobody think he's leaving after his rookie. You might as well have Woj break the news right now that he signed a 10-year deal in Memphis.
You know,
he'll be there. That investment, everybody feels.
And you know what else he's not doing? JJ, I'll turn to you as the most recent play here. He's not calling up all the other young stars in the league and saying, hey, let's all play together at some point here. He's going to beat each and every one of them. That's what I'm talking about with old school.
Old school. He's embraced the city that drafted him. He's embraced the organization that drafted him. He's embraced his teammates. He's got a swagger and a fearlessness that is an embodiment of this entire organization and team. They all feed off of that.
So, Legs, then let me come to you, because I have been oft described as a professional overreactor. I tend to overreact to the things I see. So after game one, my thinking was, well, if Memphis isn't going to win that game, they're done. They obviously have no chance. Draymond got thrown out of the game. They were playing at home. Clay played bad, and they lose the game. I figure that's it. Golden State's got it. Now, after last night, I don't know what to think about this series. What are you thinking?
They're clearly in it. And the one thing about Memphis going into this, and we said it all along, for whatever reason, they looked at that team as having Golden State's number. They just have no fear of them whatsoever. So you need the mental battle. You need to start in that place. Here's the thing, though. You're going to see some different performances out of the Golden State Warriors, particular guys, when you get back home, I believe. I think Klay Thompson is due to go off in one of these games. He just looks out of rhythm right now, out of sync. I thought last night his shot selection actually was hurting him and hurting their team. He was forcing it so badly. It's a matter of time, and I think maybe at home he finally gets going. I think Golden State ultimately has too many answers offensively for Memphis, but there's no question, when you got a Ja Morant, you're not going away. This is going to be a long series.
Jay, we will have game 3 of this series Saturday night on ABC. How do you assess where they are now after 2?
You just said the key. Klay Thompson got to play better. And the last couple of years, Greeny, he had major injuries. He's come back. He's shown flashes of being the old Klay Thompson. But I said this to you after when we were watching the other game. His wheels ain't the same. And he's going against young players who are energetic, who are athletic, and who have the ability to make him uncomfortable. Like, he's not much of a ball handler. So when Poole's in the game, that's an opportunity for him to get going, because Poole can dribble, pass, and shoot, and opens up for him. So that's what has to happen when they get home. Somebody has to find a way to get Klay a couple of open shots to kickstart his game.
And JJ, let's throw in the fact that they seem certain now to have lost Gary Payton II for the rest of the series, and we don't have a complete diagnosis yet, but a fractured elbow. He's not coming back. So how does that impact what we will see going forward?
He's one of the guys that can maybe stay in front of Ja, and certainly one of the guys that can contest him at the rim. So he guarded him on the very last play. He was the primary defender on the last play of game one. Klay, of course, came over in a help position. So this hurts their team. To both those guys' points, though, when is the last time we saw the Warriors shoot 7 for 38 from 3? Jordan Poole, Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, a combined 6 for 29, plus Andrew Wiggins was 1 for 7. Like, this was a little bit of an anomaly game. Give Memphis a lot of credit. Give Ja Morant a lot of credit for what he did in the fourth quarter. But the Warriors are going to shoot the ball better.
Did I mention he had 47 last night? Okay. So then we got to get to stuff that we talked about at the beginning of the hour, but we didn't see it in the highlight there. Dillon Brooks taking out Gary Payton II with a reckless, at minimum, play. And here is how Steve Kerr described it after.
I don't know if it was intentional, but it was dirty. And, playoff basketball it's supposed to be physical, but there's a code in this league. There's a code that players follow. where you never put a guy's season/career in jeopardy by taking somebody out in midair and clubbing him across the head and ultimately fracturing Gary's elbow. He broke the code. Dillon Brooks broke the code.
Pretty big statements from Steve Kerr. Again, Jalen, he said it was dirty. He said that Dillon Brooks broke the code. Do you agree?
I think it was a flagrant foul, but I don't think that he was trying to flagrantly injure Gary Payton II. There have been many times where all of us have been in that position where you know an athletic player is coming. Like Dillon Brooks, remember what happened in game one. You remember the highlight dunk that Gary Payton II had? So I looked at that as he was just trying to whack his arm so that he wouldn't get a dunk. I didn't look at it as like he tried to, there's a difference when you're trying to clothesline somebody or try to slam somebody to the ground. I didn't think that that was his initial intent, but we're also going to go by the result. And the result is his elbow is injured and he's going to be out for a while.
That said, I mean, you can be reckless without being intentional. Is it a dirty play? I mean, dirty feels like it's a specific word to use. Is that a dirty play?
I think it's a very hard foul. I didn't look at that as a dirty play. Like, I've been in a game where I got clotheslined before, fell on my head, and got carried off the floor in convulsions on a stretcher. And so I didn't see this as that. And I'm going to, again, judge it by the result. If he gets up and goes to the free throw line, we're not talking about it the same way. But since he got injured the way he did, we will.
Who clotheslined you and then you had to go off the court?
Ken Conley is his name. He went to Cooley High.
This is in high school.
Look, it's right on the tip of his tongue. It's like all these years. He didn't even hesitate to come up with that name.
Yeah, you know somebody that clothesline you. And at that point, Duncan wasn't important to me anymore.
Okay. Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.